Pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So this is both virtual as well as here in person. So
That's me, and I apologize.
No,
I think
it's
it's
for
me.
audio. We did that.
We're good now.
okay.
Yeah, it was coming out of the pot.
So I'll open it up to people that may have comments on the charter. Does anyone have any comments on the proposed charter changes? Yes, sir. Please state your name and
Mr. Terry Bench, 169 North Street. I have a question on 105K, and I'm seeking clarification for what it means.
okay.
It's a new line under definitions. Town and Hebron Board of Education budget, town and HBOE budget is the total town government budget and the Hebron Board of Education budget. Yeah, is it possible that someone can explain to me what that means? It's
Sure. I'll turn it over actually to the chair and chair of the Board of Ed. So,
We were just trying to clarify, because throughout the budget, sometimes it was called town government or government budget, and sometimes it meant the town, as a whole, us and the Board of Ed, right? Because we're together, we're not. And then sometimes it just meant just the town, when you're looking at different percentages for different things. So it was just to clarify as you went through the charter, what it meant. So we added the definition.
So this is not possible lead into bifurcation.
Oh, no, we, as the majority, actually the whole charter commission, did not vote for bifurcation.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
you are welcome. Anyone else from the audience with any questions? Don't all raise your hands at once.
I'll see if there's anyone on that.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
is there anybody online?
Online.
There is nothing online. No comments online.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, if I may?
Yes.
Manus 169 North Street.
Yes.
I want to take this opportunity to thank all the members of the commission that worked on this. It wasn't an easy thing. I helped out for a little bit before I was called away. But you all did a fine job, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Tony. As you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Well, again, we have an incredibly number of great volunteers throughout our many boards and commissions in town, as well as our great town staff. So we are truly blessed on many fronts on that. So, thank you.
I'm Del Ross.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Dan, and thank you, everyone. Sorry, I'm not there in person, but just like the comment made, thank you. I want to thank all of the townspeople, the commission, for the work that you put in to review, discuss, grab other people who may be in the know. I know it took a lot of time and effort. Really appreciate the time that you're giving to our town to make it better. Thank you.
Okay. Good. Any other public comments or questions concerning the charter? Any other suggestions, comments? Yes, sir.
What did I say?
Yeah, name, please.
Jason Colby. Yes, they were
Yeah, just your street address in town.
344 Old Colchester.
Thank you.
I just wanted to raise the concern that I'm sympathetic to trying to make the language more inclusive, but I'm concerned that if you change it to a town council, that also holds definition with the state. So you could be opening up some legal issues. It's not just modernizing, it actually is a different governmental structure in the eyes of the state. So anyone might want to think about that. Just wanted to raise that point.
I'm writing, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. Okay, we will go one more time. Last chance for any comments. We will be having, the Board of Selectmen will be having a special meeting on the 29th to go over the charter revisions for one last time. And then from there, I believe, and I'll turn it over to Donna, it goes to the lawyers and then to referendum.
Selectmen will make your recommendations
Correct.
or changes, then it goes back to charter revision.
Oh, okay.
Can accept or reject your changes, then they will give it back.
To us.
And there somewhere it will be reviewed by the town attorney.
Okay. So,
I actually have one more comment too. Vladimir
the name,
Gubin.
please.
Vladimir Gubin, 344 Old Colchester Road. About the clerk, I understand why the need or want to change the clerk from elected position to the appointed position. But my concern here is about the responsibility and ability of a clerk to determine tax status of a specific property in a town. And I'm not sure, and maybe I'm mistaken, and it's not like that in Hebron, but in many towns it is the case, where clerks, in many cases, determine whether specific property qualifies for a nonprofit status or not. Maybe it's different in Hebron, but I would like to know if it's the case, and if it's, when we're changing it, are we given a little bit more responsibilities to a non-elected person?
I can turn that over to Andy for clarification.
So in that instance that you just described, the assessment of properties, we have a reval every 4 years, but the assessor determines, what.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not the clerk, at least in Hebron.
Okay.
At least in that issue.
Okay. Okay, any last comments? Any last comments? Any last comments? Nothing online? Okay, at this point in time then, at 7:08, I close this public hearing concerning the Charter Revision Commission's document. Thank you for attending for that, for those who came for that. With that being said, I now call our regularly scheduled Board of Selectmen's meeting to order. And again, I ask that we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First order of business would be additions or changes to the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I would recommend that under good to know, special recognition. If Chairman or Board Member Tiffany wants to report on the Hebron Community Theater performance update.
Sure, perfect. Does anyone have a problem with that change of the agenda? Okay, so be it. Our next section would be public comment. This section of the agenda is reserved for people in attendance who wish to briefly address the Board of Selectmen. The board requests that a person's comments be limited to a single period lasting 3 minutes or less. While the board respects the right of the public to provide comment, this time is not intended to be for open discussion or a board response. Residents who wish to request a dialogue should make arrangements to do so through the town manager's office or with the board chair. People on the computer wishing to comment should type comment and your name into the chat box, and you will be recognized. So do we have anyone who wants to make public comment?
There's nothing on it.
Last chance? Okay. Item 5, it'd be the election of the chair of the Board of Selectmen. So I would like to open this up to our membership. I would like to actually, if the people will allow me, I'd like to nominate Keith Pettit for board chair.
Mr. Chair, if I could just jump in, I'll just read a quick process of how
Oh,
it should
okay.
go, and then you can carry on. I just think everybody should know how it should work. So election of the chairman of the Board of Selectmen, the procedure for election of the chair of the board. The current vice chair should call the meeting order, which you did. Current vice chair opens the floor for nominations for chair, which you did. Call for any other nominations, then a motion to close nominations, vote to close nominations, and vote on the person nominated, and then announce the chair, and then the newly elected person chairs the remainder of the meeting.
Okay. So we are partway there. That's spelled out.
You want it?
Yeah,
Well,
it would be helpful.
I mean-
No, because it was provided in the packet. There's
Yeah.
the order, if that's helpful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, any other nominations? Someone want to make a motion to close nominations?
Move to close nominations.
We've had a motion to close nominations. Take a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Aye. Okay. So the person who we have just, or actually we need to vote for the person nominated. So I put up for Keith Pettit for chair. So we need to vote on that. Keith?
You put it aye?
Tiffany?
Tiffany Teely, aye.
Claudia?
Claudia Riley, aye.
And myself, Dan Larson, aye. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now I can go back to, I guess, being vice chair. I did chair for,
Wow.
8 years?
8 years. I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, a lot of meetings.
It's time for a vacation.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I appreciate you handling both the public hearing and the meeting up until this point. Now we are on to number
Good to know.
6. Good to know. Special the Hebron Community Theater.
Excellent. Thank you so much, fellow members and Mr. Chair, for allowing me a point of privilege to talk about a great group of people in the Hebron Community Theater. We are performing this weekend. It is a fun British comedy for the whole family. Mrs. Jeeves Takes Charge. It's an adaptation of a short story by P.G. Wodehouse, who's a famous British satirist. I'm not going to tell you what role I am. I think you're all going to have to come and be surprised. But it's a wonderful organization, and we really, and I know the group would love to have your support this weekend if you're looking for something fun to do. We will take tickets at the door. So if you decide last minute you want to stop by, it's 7:30 tomorrow night at AHM, and it's 5 o'clock at AHM on Saturday for a matinee performance. And if anybody is interested in being a member or doing set design, or you like being behind the scenes, doing lighting, things like that, you can feel free to reach out to myself at my town email, and I'll put you in touch with the group. But it's a wonderful additional side thing I do in addition to my important work here. And we just want to thank the town so much for their support, particularly Parks and Rec, who've been incredibly supportive the whole way. So that is what I have for good to know, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent. Thank you.
And I just ask again,
Sure.
the times were 7:30 tomorrow night.
7:30 tomorrow night and 5 o'clock on Saturday. So more of a matinee time if people want to go catch dinner on Saturday.
Okay, and the tickets amounts?
$10 for adults, $5 for seniors and children.
Awesome. Thank you, Tiffany. And now item number 7 on the agenda, Town Manager's Report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As if you've been following along on Facebook. The skate park, Veterans Park is almost done. It looks marvelous. So that's going to be a gem to show off. It looks really good. If you haven't seen it or you want to look at it, go to the town's Parks and Recs page, and we have pictures of it there, a video, and it came out really nice. So that's an ARPA project that's almost complete. And with that being said, we're going to start, or we started the pickleball courts over at St. Pete's Field. So we'll hope to have those done, sometime in June or early July. We're waiting on the well permit from the Chatham Health for the dog park. We submitted the application through Chatham Health into the state. So hopefully you're back on that pretty soon and get that started. The American Legion is going to be holding their annual Memorial Day parade on Monday the 26th. The parade kicks off sharply at 11 o'clock. If anybody wants to participate, please show up at the Ram High School entrance for 10. And I'm excited to say, I hope everybody else is excited as I am, that the budget passed, so we can continue to do good work and start working on next year already. So
I'm excited.
good job and congratulations to the schools. I think the message that was out there is we all worked well together and trying to get what the town, what it needs to keep moving forward. I don't think there was any real big fluff in there. It's unfortunate that, it was a tax increase, but we went many years with small increases and it's starting to catch up to us. So it is what it is. And thank you for the support. I know it wasn't a windfall, but it passed. As you'll see here with Richard Steiner, we've been working, and I should say Donna's been working really very diligently with the building committee on the school roof projects and then also on the RAM emergency generator project. So we're trying to get those things complete and moving along. Public Works is going to be holding a touch a truck at the Public Works Saturday, the 17th from 9 to 1. And that's weather permitting. Anybody's going down there. And you can also tour the facility if they want while they're there to take a look at, the public works that they're looking to get redesigned. And unfortunately, in our Region 8 insurance that covers the schools and the towns of Andover, Marlboro, and Hebron, we took a pretty good significant increase to our stop loss protection. And at this point in time, we don't have a lot of options. We did put it out the bid earlier, but we only received one price back. And unfortunately, that's going to be like almost a 50% increase. So the good news is we have money in that account, Region 8 insurance to cover that. But that's a good reason we're frugal with that, or we wouldn't have that. So it's just, insurance has its ups and downs, and we've been on a pretty good run for a while. So it's our turn on a down slope. So hopefully it'll clean up. But we've been doing pretty good. We've got a pretty good contingency in the bank to cover stuff like this. So just giving you notice. And that's, okay. I'm going to be on vacation next week. I won't be away out of state, but Don will be in charge during the week if there's any business that needs to be conducted. Other than that, that's all I had.
Awesome. Thank you, Andy. On to section 8, old business. 8A is the American Rescue Plan, ARPA funds. I know Andy just went over most of this stuff. I don't think there's anything additional we need to cover. So we can move on to 8B, the Department of Public Works Action Committee update. I know normally this is where Peter would step in as he was a part of that committee. Richard, if there's any updates or if you'd like to speak, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. For the record, Richard Steiner, 330 West Street. The Department of Public Works Action Committee has a regular meeting next Monday evening, starting at 6:30. Two principals from Silver Petroselli will be joining the committee. They have advanced an agenda, so all members of the committee will know what's going to be discussed. There were some items that I got from the committee, so we'll have a very extensive first kickoff meeting. So things are starting to happen. One of the obviously Paul Forrest and Mary Rose Betts will be there. One of the topics is going to be talking about sequencing some of the exploratory work. So we make sure that it's undertaken so we don't interfere or create safety issues for not only the DPW staff, but also residents who may be going to the transfer station. Right? Pretty full agenda. They have a lot of things to cover. So, and they're coming prepared, as is the members of the public works. And that's the update.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I was gonna say, outside of, what we read in the paper, has there been much in the way of interest as to how the next steps are going or anything, or?
Be unfair for me because really I have to defer to the communications committee, Todd and the other members, because they kind of are basically the earpiece to get all of the kind of the questions. So I know that one of the thrusts of that meeting is going to be talking about in very long detail what the first steps, a whole series of first steps are going to be. You kind of lay that out so everybody's aware. And it'll be, with Paul and Rose being there, they'll be laying out guidelines as far as things that can happen and things that can't happen relative to, or when things can happen. So there's clear lines of communications. I mean, still a fully functioning
Yes.
operation. And I said to Silver Petroselli, we cannot lose sight of the fact just because it's spring doesn't mean that the activity has lessened there. There's always a fever pitch of activity. And one of my preliminary conversations with them was, you really need to think about a work plan. Okay? I would want to make sure that when your sub-consultants come on the site, one, they have the blessing of operations down there. But the other thing is that there isn't a situation. I know things happen, but I don't want to have a situation where they come on site, do some exploratory, we forgot to do that, or we should do it. Let's really think about a work plan where we make the intrusions down there as few as possible. But to answer your question, Dan, no, there's been really, I haven't heard anything as far as questions as far as what I know that as the ball gets rolling, there'll be a lot of questions.
Well, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of public that are going to say, what are they doing? Why are they doing, but.
And that's a conversation we had with the communication committee as we go along. The FAQs have to keep on getting updated to kind of talk about, what we're doing, what we're accomplishing,
and more, the whys.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
Richard, question on the project itself from like an operational and a project management perspective. Is there something that the principals do? Do they have like a project offer management tool where, everything's there, like all the different, like you mentioned, the different subcontractors, what they're working on, what their deliverables are? Is there something that the committee has access to so they can see everything sort of like in maybe a cloud-based sort of
That is an excellent question. They do have software that will track their progress. We'll post sketches that the committee and potentially residents could have access to. They even offered Silver Petroselli, one of the things that they said, because we know ultimately the next big milestone, the referendum, and they offered, with the blessing of the town manager's office, they'd be willing to kind of put information out, kind of rather than us parroting what they're doing, they would be, and here's what we're working on, here's what we found. So,
yeah.
So to answer your question, yes.
Because I think it would be in everyone's best interest to put out as much information as possible, get ahead of it, so that people, can't turn around and say, well, you guys are withholding information from us.
Couldn't agree with you more.
Perfect.
That was something that we think is extremely important, and that's why this communications subcommittee was set up to really kind of continue to pump the information out.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks. 8C, any other old business? Bless you. 9, new business. The Charter Revision Commission first draft report was presented at the last meeting, and we had the public hearing tonight. And also we will be having a workshop just for the public that's here, because we don't normally see this many people in the audience, right, Terry? But you're more than welcome to come to the Board of Selectmen workshop. It'll be slightly different setup than it was tonight. Tonight was more back and forth with the public. The 29th will be more the selectmen discussing, but anybody is encouraged to attend for their own information and to make sure that they're kept kind of up to date on where we're headed with different topics. So please feel free to attend on the 29th. Do we have anything else under 9A?
Yeah,
Sir?
it would be appropriate for the board of selectmen at this time to decide, probably assuming you're gonna want that to be a hybrid meeting workshop.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just want to make.
Yep.
Always.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, please.
And we're good on 9A.
Mhm.
9B, we're going to look at a resolution for the master municipal agreement rights of way from the Department of Transportation and the town manager. Tiffany, are you available to start us off on the motion?
Sure. Be it resolved that Mr. Andrew J. Tierney, Town Manager, is hereby authorized to sign the agreement entitled Master Municipal Agreement for Rights-of-Way Projects between the State of Connecticut, Department of Transportation, the CTDOT, and the Town of Hebron.
Thank you. Any discussion? I know it was a lot to read.
I'm glad you didn't make me read all of that. We would be here all night.
Yeah, it's pretty standard language, but Andy, if you wanted to
Just to
fill in a little
summarize
bit, please.
For the people that are here
Please.
on the hybrid meeting this is supposedly something they did a while back to streamline the permitting process for municipalities when they have projects that are coming within the states right away. By having this in place and signed, it gets you through a lot of the red tape and jumping through hoops at last minute to try to get permission and permits and stuff. So by having this already in place and for a 10-year period of time, it gives you that much less red tape you have to deal with when we're doing like bridge projects or sidewalk projects. So it's pretty standard, straightforward, just an agreement. We did this 10 years ago and it's due.
And there's information in the agenda packet online if anybody really wants to slog through the 112 pages. It's basically just the state and the town coming to an agreement on standardized contract language for any projects we'll have over the next 10 years. And of course, that standardized language will get tweaked for each individual project. But to Andy's point, it's a great way to cut through some of the red tape up front. So any other discussion on that before we come to a vote? Mr. Larson,
Dan Larson, aye.
Tiffany Thiele,
Tiffany Teely, aye.
and Claudia Round.
Claudia Riley, aye.
Keith Pettit, aye. And motion passes. Next item on the agenda is 9C, award contract for Hebron Elementary School roof project. Richard, you want to say something again?
You're a chair up here.
Thank you. Very briefly, last Tuesday, we opened the bids for the re-roofing of Hebron Elementary. We had 3 bidders. The lowest bidder was Greenwood Industries, with local offices in Glastonbury and Hebron. We scheduled what we call a D-scope meeting that was held on Thursday, where we go through the specifications, the scope of work, in great detail to make sure if there's any questions, any misunderstandings of what the architect is expecting or what we're expecting relative to job site safety and security coordination with the elementary school. Although Parks and Rec will not be using it, there is still going to be custodial staff. I'm pleased to report that the architect did confirm, and I was there, Mel Lecter was also in attendance, along with Dave McKinney from Board of Ed, and everybody felt very comfortable that they had the scope covered. And so the board our building committee met on Monday night, and they voted unanimously to ask the board of selectmen to approve that contract with Greenwood Industries. Some history with Greenwood. They're probably one of the largest roofing contractors in the Northeast. One of the concerns we always have when we do school roofing projects is, what do we get when we open the envelope, and are they going to have the manpower that's necessary to do the work? And the answer to that question is resounding, is that Greenwood definitely has the manpower. The latest numbers they presented, and we had verified, is that they have over 550 roofers throughout the Northeast, so they definitely have the manpower to do the work. We push them. The operative question is, how soon can you start? And their response was, well, what's the last day of school this year? So they are committed to start mobilizing as early as Monday, June 16th, which gives us all, allows us all a little bit exhale. So we know we're going to wind up with some bad weather, but rather than have the roofers start that early as school is dismissing, then tell us they'll be on site August 1st. They've started their shop drawings and submittal process. They're, and not only did we have the scoping meeting, but because we're so comfortable with that, we had what we call initial project kickoff meeting. So went over a lot of administrative things, and our meeting was almost close to 2 hours. So we covered a lot of ground, and so there won't have to be starting on Monday the 16th, having to go over things. They know what the commitments are, both administratively, what the commitments are, where to put construction fence up, and who to interface with relative to town issues, relative to Board of Ed issues. So we feel very comfortable making that recommendation and request to the board of select.
Awesome. I guess before we get into too much more discussion, I'm sorry. Claudia, could you read the motion?
Move that the Hebron Board of Selectmen award the contract for the Hebron Elementary School roof replacement project to Greenwood Industries, Inc. of Glastonbury, Connecticut, in the amount of $854,000, and authorize Andrew J. Tierney, Town Manager, to sign any necessary contract documents.
Awesome. Discussion or questions for Richard?
Yes, I just had one. Because of the state's involvement, do they have to sign off prior to them starting, or?
Actually, Donna and I worked on a document that's mandatory. Commission on Human Rights and Opportunities, that are known as CHRO, is mandated that in advance of contract being issued, the town municipality needs to at least get a notification that the contract is pending, that there was specific paragraphs included in the bid documents reciting the contractor's obligation, reminding the contractor their obligation relative to CHRO. But one of the very specific things that we talked about in the scope meeting is that you have an obligation to parcel off some of your work. Let's talk about what your vision is. And they put forth that here's what their plan is relative to making a good faith effort. So that's one of the questions that CHRO wants to know from the municipality. Did you have that specific discussion? Was the decision to award based on their past history of making good efforts and measurable efforts relative to CHRO? And that was one of the things that, both the architect and myself are very familiar with Greenwood, and just that there are appreciable, efforts in complying with the CHRO. So, yes, to answer your question, that was the one agency that wants to know.
Okay. So there's nothing on the state side that's going to hold this project
No.
up. Okay.
Excellent. Any other discussion?
I'm all set. Thank you.
All right. Go for a vote. Dan Larson,
Dan Larson, aye.
Tiffany Teeler,
Tiffany Teely, aye.
Claudia Rowell,
Claudia Riley, aye.
Keith Pettit, aye. Thank you.
Just want to again mention thank you for the incredible amount of work that the building committee has done on a number of projects, literally within the last years, but definitely within the last number of months.
Yes,
It's thank you so much.
I know. I feel like Richard is a full-time employee.
Okay.
But no, I couldn't agree more with Dan. Thank you, Richard, so much for all the hours and the expertise that you contribute to the town. The town of Hebron would not be anywhere near where it is today without the contributions of volunteers like yourself. And thank you. We do appreciate it.
It's my utmost pleasure and honor.
Thank you.
9D, draft agenda for June 5th is included in the agenda packet. If anyone has any additions or anything that they want to see brought up there, please reach out to Donna or myself or Andy. Maybe not while Andy's on vacation. And 9E, any other new business? Fantastic. All right. 10, consent agenda.
See if we're over the minutes.
No tax.
Just one item.
Okay. I will make a motion to approve the minutes for the regular meeting of May 1st, 2025. Discussion? Awesome. Dan Larson,
Aye.
Tiffany Tealy,
Tiffany Tealy, aye.
Claudia Brown,
Audrey Riley, aye.
Keith Pettit, aye. Liaison reports. AHM, I know Peter was on that, so we'll make arrangements. I'll probably take the next meeting for that one until we get a full board back. And then, so hopefully I'll have something on that coming up. Tiffany, Hebron Board of Ed,
They don't meet until next week.
thank you. Dan, Board of
I have
Finance.
nothing. Thank you.
Awesome. Land acquisition has not met since our last meeting. And Claudia, RAM?
Nothing to report.
Excellent. So that brings us to item 12, which is our second public comment for the evening. Same rules apply as the first one. Does anyone have any public comment? Or if there's any online, please type comment into the chat.
It's like, aye.
Please.
And I was going to write it down and I didn't, so I'll hopefully fumble along. Very, very glad that the budget passed. A lot of hard work was put into it to get it to pass. I would still love to know, we received virtually no input from, the citizenry, and yet it only passed by 19 votes. People have got to get involved. Our elected people are doing their best, but we're working in a vacuum. We can't read minds. Talk to us. Talk to the different boards. We've tried. I can't think of how many ways of reaching out, and somehow something has got to change. And I don't know what the answers are, and hopefully people in town can suggest things that may help us to be able to gauge better your feelings. And it may be things that people are just saying are outside of even the town's control. Because a lot of our budget's made up of mandated costs, contractual costs. So I was just a little concerned, and I don't know how to reach out to people to get them to open up to talk, so that if nothing else, we can at least explain why some of the numbers come in as what they come in at. So that was it.
Jason Guidon, 94 Cullen Road. So thank you to everyone who's been working on all of these things that have been discussed tonight. Once again, so the budget comes in high, right? Our taxes go up. No one's mentioned the 2020 sort of an impact on the cost of things. It's probably gone up 2/3. I said doubled, maybe not doubled. So of course our budget's going to go up through the roof. Our taxes haven't gone up in years. You've done very well to hold those off. So thank you for that. I think your hands were tied by effectively the world right now, and we had to pass a high budget. Afraid that those things shift and maybe we have a surplus at the end of the year or at the end of 2 years. But thank you very much for doing what you did. And if you work in a vacuum, that's literally people's doing because we don't participate. I'll own that myself because I didn't show up to those meetings either. As far as a solution, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think of the same thing for a lot of other organizations as well, but reaching out, talking to people, saying hi, same thing as increasing participation in any other organization, I think is the way to do it. People have to get fed up enough to actually show up and then realize, oh, I should have shown up earlier. And they get less fed up. Anyway, those are my thoughts on that. And my appreciation goes out to all of you, certainly to the building commission, so much work. And of course the revision commission. So thank you.
Any other public comment? Oh, please.
Dan Lawrence, 6 Hills Lane. Nice to meet you all. Thank you again, all that you guys are doing for the town. We all appreciate it. I agree. It's very disheartening when you see the turnout on these votes for municipals and for budgets. I've been living in town for 25 years. I've seen it go up and down, people voting, getting involved. I remember referendums, they went 5, 6 times because of tax increases. This time, I would say probably, this is just my supposition, is probably barely passed because of tax increase, right? It was a major one. Like you all said, we've had very low tax increases the last few years, so that's great. But I think the big elephant in the room really is the lack of businesses in town. I think that's where you're going to find tax revenue. We don't have that. We have a very limited number of businesses. They're good businesses. We finally have a good restaurant in town again, which is fantastic, right? That's one. But all my friends that live in Farmington and Avon and Simsbury, they got a plethora of restaurants and development. And so we just have to keep in mind, I get that we want to keep the character of the town. But we also have to find ways to attract businesses to town. We have that road, to the right, the road to, call it what you want.
Senior housing.
But that's off the main street. We want to keep that character. You still have that area there to develop, right? And I see, what's being developed in town. I mean, what Flower Girl's done is fantastic, right? The buildings are beautiful. I love what that young man did, that house, orange. It's fantastic. I mean, it's so cool. I would just encourage us to really think about how we can attract businesses to town and do it in a way that keeps the character of the town, but build some tax revenue for all of us. And it's not just on all of us to support the services, because of course we need good schools. So I think that's why you saw us win budget, because there were enough parents that went out and voted, right? I mean, I remember when my son was in school, we always were voting, going out, getting, voting for the schools. I was there when we built a new middle school and a new high school. And it was kind of sad at the time we lost the pool for $1 million. It was like, oh, geez, would have been nice to have a pool in town.
Yeah.
So those are the kinds of things you look back on, and that would have attracted people to town too. So we know we've got to have good schools. That's how we attract more people to move into town. But we have to build more houses too. That's another problem. We're not building, there's not a lot of development right now. We know why. There's very high cost. We've got a son that just bought a house in Glastonbury, got lucky. But I know so many kids, they can't move into town. It's too expensive to live here. So we have to think about affordable housing too. What does affordable housing mean? It doesn't mean, that kind of that negative connotation. It means we want to get people that are, coming in at the ground level, teachers, people that are just starting their careers. They're not making a ton of money yet. They should be able to buy a starter home in town.
Mhm.
That's the kind of thing I think that will really help.
Mhm.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Nothing online.
All right. We'll close public comment. And before we get to that,
Yeah.
I just want to say my public comment is amazing turnout by the public.
Yeah.
Like, please come again.
Please.
Like, we love having you here and we love hearing from you. And I appreciate those of you who commented on the charter, who commented on the budget. We're going to have continued conversations, and we would love you to be a part of that, because like we said, we can't really work in a vacuum up here. We're kind of just, fumbling around in the dark. We need input from people that this affects. And I appreciate it so much. So with that, with a public hearing and a business meeting, I'm telling you, I'm calling up Peter and I'm going to be like,
Move to adjourn the Hebron Board of Selectmen at 7:45 p.m.
thank you.
And I vote aye.
That works for me.
Aye.
Aye.